Alright guys, here we go. I'm leaving work. This will be a reshoot of yesterday. I didn't like the video I did on the way home yesterday. This wasn't very good. Wasn't bad, but anyway, so I ended up not posting that. So yesterday, my building that I work security at, apparently had its first case of the new big C, the COVID. And this is going to be hopefully a short, quick video. There ain't much to it. Ain't much to talk about, and most of you guys already know and think about, probably. But so that means I'll probably end up going off on rant, but that's okay. You guys ain't here for the quality of the content, just the content, hopefully. Another busy day getting out of here. Yesterday I sat here for probably 10 minutes. Anyway, we got the email from HR in the office yesterday. Go on, Truckee, I'm waiting for you. Okay. I think he wanted me to go, but he had the right of way. Got the email from HR yesterday. There has been our first positive case that came up in the building, but it was, in their words, up in the office. They didn't say it was someone in the office or an office employee, so upstairs, nothing to do with me. They just said in the office, and apparently I found out a little bit later in the day. This news was actually from Friday. They were just now sending out the email of it, which would make sense because I didn't hear about it Friday, so it must have been after I left, so that was probably the end of the day. Now, here comes the problem with the modern male, particularly the modern Western male. No control over your emotions. Anger's good, anger is useful, anger is fine, anger is justified. There's nothing wrong with anger. Anger is not an evil emotion or an emotion not from God. And anger is actually not a bad thing when controlled. That sounds off topic, but I'm going to make a point here. I had a little sense of pride, a little sense of healthy pride, because I got very angry at this, but I managed to tamp it down, just felt a little surge, and then I kept a lid on it. Because I, like a lot of us, have a good reason why I want to know if I have come in contact with this person. I want to know if I have been exposed or potentially exposed. Which, nature of my work, where I work at, I very well have. There's a very high potential of exposure. I've talked about this before at my building. But because of course, HIPAA laws, and the fact that there's just plenty of other good reasons not to talk about these things in the workspace, in the workplace, in the work environment, especially from my job, my role there, it would cause a panic. It would cause a lot of difficulty for my job. It would make my job 10 times harder because everyone's going to be freaking out. Everyone's going to be asking questions. I would not be able to effectively perform my job. I'm going to put up the window, or else I'm going to have to yell. I don't know why I still have that down. You guys don't care, and frankly, I don't either. Just turn the volume up and ignore the wind. But I got got very angry because I have a little baby at home, not mine, but I have a little baby at home most of the time. I'm taking care of my niece most of the time. I also have other reasons I don't want to carry this out of work. I don't want to bring it home. I don't want to bring it home to the rest of my family. I don't want to take it to my grandfather, who I see often and I take care of a lot. I don't want to take it out into the world, even though it's already out there. But I don't want to give it to someone who's managed to stave off getting it yet. Now, like a lot of us, I'm not worried about it, but I know it's a real thing. I know it's out there, and I know it's particularly nasty if you do get it. It's survivable, but it is not fun at all. Not by how it sounds. I know that. So I don't want to be insensitive towards those who have gotten it. And I've said before, I believe I got it right at the very beginning, because I had a weekend where I felt like absolute crap, and I've never had all those symptoms at once before, not from everything. This person just about slammed in the back of me because they can't control themselves. Oh, we got people driving down the shoulder. Cool. Say I controlled myself there pretty good. Oh, and you're already handicapped and you're driving like that. That's brilliant. Okay. My question, the point to this video is, how would you guys feel about that? How would you feel if you were in my shoes, in these shoes? Because I would very much like to know who this person was, and they can't name names. They can't talk about it for all the reasons, including HIPAA. I get it. I totally understand it. I agree with that. I don't want to throw that out the window just because times are bad. Also, what are we really standing for as conservatives and libertarians? And if we don't believe it when it really matters most, then what are we really talking about? We're not really for what we say we're for. So how do you guys feel? Because it pissed me off because I am totally understanding it. I get all that. But you can at least, the nature of our work at my job, you can at least tell me if they've been, that's all I need to know, because that's why I need to know the person. At least tell me if they've been in the building since they've been found to be sick, positive possibly. I mean, the test is so questionable. The testing is extremely questionable. And we all know the different issues with the tests. We've all heard it. So you don't have to tell me who to tell me just tell me if they've been in the building before, after they come back, but before they were tested and resulted in positive, or since they've been tested positive and they came to the building and didn't tell anyone and then someone found out. Just let me know, because I would like to know if I've had contact with them, or indirectly, because nature of my work, I don't really interact with the people upstairs in the offices. Very rarely do I have to go up there for anything. And to a degree, they come downstairs a little bit, trying to squeeze through a tight gap. Oh, you can't make that, lady. But there's plenty of other people at the place that I interact with all day long. My job is to interact with everyone up close and personal. I mainly want people in and out of the building, and that's the main part of my job. And that's only one part, but it's the main part of my job. Getting away from that lady. You could at least tell me if they've been in the building since they've tested positive, or even before when they got back from wherever they went and were in the building before they were found to be positive, and then they let you know, or maybe they didn't. Maybe they had already tested positive and come back to work for a day or multiple days and then told someone who then reported it to HR. I mean, you could at least tell me that. Because odds are I have been exposed to it, even if I haven't directly interacted with this person. Someone has who has then brought it downstairs. So I want to know what you guys think about that. How would you feel if you were in my shoes? And then, do we have the right? Should rules like that and should HIPAA laws, and we don't talk about this because all the reasons, including HIPAA and all the legality issues, should those go out the window? Should we believe in that? Should we be thinking that way, especially as someone who leans right? Just because times are bad. I agree with all those, but if there's ever a time we have a legitimate, I mean, I don't see it this way, but what else do you call it? There is a health crisis right now. I mean, we have very good reason why we should not do away with those entirely, but when appropriate, don't follow those rules. Should we be sticking to HIPAA and all the other rules and laws right now? Or should those be put to the side for the time being until this gets under control at least? Which it is. It is. You have to be smart about this. It is, at least in Western nations, it's very much under control. Despite what certain media factions, it's not all one side, certain media factions and certain factions in this nation want you to believe it is very much under control. I'm not suggesting it isn't, or that it's as crazy bad as they say it is, but it's still a very real threat that's out there. That's all I'm acknowledging. So should we put that to the side, or because here we have a situation where everyone deserves to know. This isn't an everyday trip to the doctor for someone and you can't talk about it. This is something that affects everyone. And it's a great danger. It's a great risk to a lot of people. So I think I have the right to know. So question number 2. Should the normal, moral, and ethical laws be put to the side right now? I really don't know how I feel about that, because I want to say no, of course, because I feel no. But this being my first real known engagement, interaction with, or at least possibly with someone who has tested positive, it changes the way you see things. So, because I'm trying to be careful as possible, because I do have people in my life to be concerned about, like all of us, right? But for me, this is my first known possible interaction. One other site I worked at during the Ohio shutdown had a case, like on my second day there, this guy fainted, had a fainting spell or something in his condo at this building I was at, and squad and EMS came, got him, took him out, and I heard towards the end of my time there, I was there for 4 straight weeks, I heard like my third or second to last day that he was back, and he'd been gone that whole time, because he was apparently fine. We heard that pretty soon after, like 2 days after he got taken away, but he was fine. He just fainted, but he came back like 2 or 3 days before I left there, and he was still recovering, because he had been quarantined the whole time. He'd been kept in quarantined in the ICU or whatever, with the virus. So he had, apparently, I never heard a confirmation about this. I never heard the words tested positive used, but he had the virus. So I don't think that was the case, because this was a building mainly of older residents. That's why I'm surprised they allowed him back so soon. And if he did, if anyone had it, because we were being extremely careful, because, I mean, we were monitoring we had the exposure levels, and we're at level red level, but we had to watch that building carefully, because if it got in there, it would spread like a hawk. Spread like a hawk. I don't know why hawk popped in my head. It would spread like wildfire. So we had to watch the building like a hawk. And there were several possibles. None of them ended up being anything. But yeah. So I want to know how you guys feel and what you think about that. How would you feel in those shoes when you have a known, at least potential exposure for you personally, but no one's telling you anything, especially in regards to the ethical rules and the legality of those ethical rules, HIPAA and everything? People deserve to know. I mean, if there's a situation where people should be being told things, it would be now, right? Don't we have the right to know? Shouldn't we be putting all that stuff on the back burner for right now? So how do you feel about that? What do you think about that? Especially if we give in now and go that route, will we ever return? And if you bend on your beliefs now, then what are you really standing for? If you cave when they matter most. So anyway, I'm gonna get back to drinking my giant Dr. Pepper, because I need sugar and caffeine, and I got zero sleep last night. Bye, y'all.